Continuing on with integration by substitution. So I went through all of those examples and magically they all had 2x was the outside factor. Well, I'm sure you're guessing that's not going to always happen. So what would you do if that wasn't the outside factor? All right, so let's look at this and see, based on this example, what would you pick to be the inside? Well, it looks to me like I would pick t squared plus 1. So that would be my inside. All right, and it kind of makes sense because it's inside the parentheses. So over here, I would say u equals t squared plus 1. And as we've been doing, what's your next step? Take the derivative with respect to t, would be 2t dt. Now, a lot of times I tell students to rewrite the order of your integral. So e to the t squared plus 1 times, notice that t right there, in dt. So times t dt. Well, we said that that piece right there is u, and here we have a rut row. That's not that piece. No problem. Anytime you have a number missing, notice over here, what I could do is I could take and divide both sides by 2. And notice that is exactly now the outside piece. But what do I substitute? This was du over 2. What I typically do, and you'll kind of see why here in a minute, is I typically write it as 1/2 times du. That's the same thing, du over 2. I just bring the 1/2 out front, equals t dt. Now I can see this piece right here, what's going to get substituted is going to be 1/2 du. So this is what happens when you don't get exactly, okay, the outside piece. So now I just do my normal thing. I do my substitution, e to the u, but instead of times du, I have 1/2 du. And now you'll see why I pull the 1/2 out, because I can bring that out front. And from here, taking the antiderivative of e to the u, well, that's easy. That's just e to the u. And then what's your last step? Substitute back. So u, which is t squared plus 1. And that would be your final answer. So looking at this, if I actually took the derivative, e to the anything is e to the anything, so that matches that piece right there. The derivative would be 2t of the inside, and notice the 2's would cancel, and hence why you had to pull that 1/2 out. So basically what you're trying to do is match whatever you pick for the inside, you are trying to match the outside, and whatever you have to do to match it, in this case I had to divide by 2. All right, let's see if we can do another one here. Okay, so next, all of these, I try to make the inside pretty obvious. What's the inside? Inside the actual radical. Okay, so that's what I mean by the inside. So that would be my u, which would be x to the 4th plus 5. Take the derivative with respect to x would be 4x cubed, that's just 0, dx. If you're kind of starting to notice, the inside is always 1 power higher than the outside. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because if you're taking the derivative. All right, so again, as I mentioned, you could change the order of this. So I have the square root of x to the 4th plus 5 times x cubed dx. So my inside is all good, baby. That's good, right? That's what we did over here. Outside, problem. Not a problem. Divide 4 off. So once again, if I divide off the 4, then I'm left with 1/4 du equals x cubed dx, which is exactly this leftover piece. So I'm going to substitute 1/4 du. All right, so from here, let's do our substitution. The square root of u times 1/4 du. Again, I just pull the 1/4 out front. I'm going to go ahead and write the square root to the 1/2 power. And now from here, the 1/4 is still out front. How do I find the antiderivative of u to the 1/2? U to the 1/2 plus 1, which would be 2/2 over 1/2. So this is the antiderivative rule. And from here, 1/4 u to the 3/2 over 3/2. And I could write the 3/2, I could flip it. Why in the world can I flip that? Remember the rules of when you are dividing, you flip and multiply. So that's all I'm doing is dividing those two pieces. So I flipped and multiplied. Yes, I still have my u to the 3/2 power. Could make this look a little better. So that looks like that's going to be 2 times 3, 1/6. And so I end up with 1/6. So I multiplied those. U, which is x to the 4th, plus 5. I don't know why my 4s all look like 9s. And then notice it's to the 3/2 power plus c. And that would be your final answer. Again, I would check it. I would take the derivative so you can actually see why this is the actual answer. Okay, so again, the big problem, with using this substitution, I mean, a lot of the issues with most students with substitution is you're doing derivatives and you're doing antiderivatives. So you're doing both within the same problem, and that's what you have to understand. All right, so let's say now though, what if in our preceding examples, we could only apply substitution when the constant is missing from the inside function. In other words, something like this, if you remember I said whatever you pick for the inside, the outside is 1 power less. We can't use substitution with this. It won't work. And so your question is, but then what would I use, Cindy? Well, then you would probably take a higher level class and have to use some other form. But in this class, you wouldn't use anything. Okay, I wouldn't give you something like that. All right, because I'm sure you want a trig function really, really bad. Let's look at an actual trig function. So again, I probably would pick that for my inside. How do I know right away I would pick that? Because that's 1 power less. So over here, I would pick u equals x cubed. Du equals 3x squared. Oh, isn't that nice? That's exactly the leftover piece. So we love it when that's the leftover piece. And so again, as I keep saying over and over and over and over and over again, I probably would rewrite the order so you can see what you're doing. Then times 3x squared. So all of these are being multiplied. So all I did was rewrite the order. Now it's very easy to see that that's going to be u, that's going to be du. So I come back here and I write cosine of u du. I take the antiderivative. What's the antiderivative of cosine? You better not be saying negative sign because that's the derivative. Positive sign. And then finally, my last step, what does u equal? X cubed and plus c. So these aren't too bad when whatever you pick for the inside ends up being exactly the outside. I mean, the only time they're kind of bad is when that doesn't happen. All right, so let's try another one, another trig one. So looking at this one, I don't really see anything for an inside, and if you just pick theta for an inside, the derivative of theta, that's like x, would just be 1. So that's not going to help me. So what I'm thinking of doing is I said one thing you could do, you could pick exponents. So what would happen if I let u equal cosine of theta? Well, what's the derivative of cosine? The derivative, negative sine d theta. The problem is that's a positive sign. Not a problem. Can't you divide both sides by -1? I mean, that's basically what I'm doing to move the negative to the other side. And now from here, I can see, okay, this piece, all of that up there becomes u. And this piece right here becomes negative du. So rewriting this, I would put the negative out front, e to the u du. What's the antiderivative of e to the u? E to the u. And then finally plug in my u, which was cosine of theta, and then plus c. All right, so the next one, I am actually going to let you work. Again, when you look at these and you decide what to pick, okay, when you decide what to pick for an inside, a lot of it has to do with, is the derivative the outside? Now, I will give you a little hint because this is going to be a little difficult. I typically write cosine cubed of t. I typically write it like this, because this way I can clearly see what's going to be the inside. So let you try this one on your own and see what you actually get. All right, now we've been doing all of these antiderivatives, and we're not getting area. How do you get area? You have to have these values, right? Your A and your B. So that's where we're going with this, of course. So looking at something like this, how do I know that this is a substitution? Well, there is no quotient rule, okay? So what I would see is that I would let u equal the inside. What's the derivative of t? 1 dt. Well, there's kind of a 1 right there, right? I mean, 1 times, if you wanted to, you could just write it as 1 times anything. It's just that value. And so now rewriting this, I would rewrite it as 1 over the square root of u du, because where I saw dt, I just changed it to du with my substitution. Now here you just have to be careful because you want to bring the square root of u, which is the same as u to the 1/2, but it's on the bottom. So when you bring it up, it becomes the negative 1/2. And so I can find u to the negative 1/2 plus 1, my antiderivative, negative 1/2 plus 1. So I get u to the 1/2 over 1/2, which is the same thing. U to the 1/2 is the same thing as the square root of u. This, when you divide, you flip and multiply. And then finally, I need to plug back in what t equals. So I have 2 to the square root of t, what u equals, plus 9. And now finally, my last step, I can plug in my limits of integration. So that's going to be 16 plus 9 minus 2 times 0 plus 9. Remember what this piece is right here. This is my f of b minus my f of a. And I think 16 plus 9 would be 25. The square root of 25 would be 5. Square root of 9 would be 3. So 10 minus 6 would be your final answer.